Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Locke in Your Success Trade and Market Update for October 21st, 2012. You have to love the new market movement. The doldrums are finally loosening up a little bit in this grind, and we're finally getting a little bit of volatility in the markets, and that's making me pretty excited this week. If we take a look at the SPX, we had the biggest down move on Friday that we've had since back here in June sometime. So like I said, we're getting a little bit of volatility in the market. And if you remember last week, we had one or two scenarios breaking out. We were saying we've pulled down to a 50-day moving average, and we could get somewhat of a bounce. And if that were to happen, we were expecting sideways movement for the week. And if we broke down, we had a price target of around $13.95 or $1400 here, and that's what we were expecting from move in that event. What we ended up getting is more or less no movement for the week. We got this bounce, and we came right back down where we started. So we got that sideways movement we were expecting. We are sitting back on the 50-day moving average. We basically have the same scenario playing out. Not a surprise to see it bounce off a 50-day moving average. Also, if this breaks, we still have our same price target of about $13.95. So we're sitting here exactly in the same scenario. On the SPX, let's take a look at the NDX. We're still getting charting errors here from profit charts, and it's kind of goofing us up a little bit. But if you remember right, I was saying we had a price target down here on the index of 26.75. We are not far from that. I believe we closed at, let's take a look at our other charts. If we take a look at this charting package here, we closed at 26.78. So we've virtually hit the price target from our price pattern here on the NDX that we had set it up. And from here, normally I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a bounce. However, it looks like the SPX wants to drop out a little bit, and we're very close to a 200 moving average. It wouldn't be out of the question to penetrate this area a little bit and come down to 26.50 if the market continues to come down. If the SPX bounces and drops, we may see the index go a bit lower. As far as the Dow is concerned, again, we had that sideways movement. We had this bounce. If you look on the weekly candle, we virtually closed where we opened, and we're in the exact same position as we were last week, as right at the support level. If we bounce, we are going for or close to these old highs. Notice we did have a lower low. We also had a lower low in the SPX, which is more of an indication or more evidence that we're probably going to break this level and come down. And even if we do get a bounce here, if it doesn't exceed half this candle, look out below, we are probably coming in and hitting our price target that we talked about earlier of 13,150. So I still have a 13,150 price target on the Dow also. And as far as the Russell, we did come down to 821. I believe we had a price target of around 810 or a 200-day moving average, which is around 805 now. So look for 805 on the Russell. The way I stand right now is we are at major support levels, just like we were last week. Don't be surprised to see a bounce at a major support level. This trend line holds, this diagonal trend line here. If that holds on a bounce, we are very likely coming lower, and we're very likely going to be at the 800 level to complete out this pattern. So my bias is to the downside, and it's a little bit like last week where we're kind of sitting in a decision point, and that's what I got for the markets. Let's take a look at our trades. Or I should say trade. As of last Friday morning, this position was sitting here. I had 10 810 put butterflies, 2 750 Russell calls, and 5 810 820 call verticals. And we basically held this position. Let me unclick that. We basically held this position until Friday, and the market started coming down somewhat aggressively. So we started rolling these back throughout the day, one at a time. I rolled 5 or half of the position back to 790 butterflies, and this is what the current position looks like as is. Keep in mind this is after hours and we're think or swim. This position is actually negative delta. And yes, it is off that much. It's off about 10 delta per butterfly right now after hours. This position is looking very nice. If we get a small bounce and come into the 800 level, I should be able to pull this off. If you remember, we are double hedged to the upside. I'm kind of looking for a smaller profit target of $2,500. I would actually like to get a little bit more out of that. I might push it for 3,000. And if I think I can get it off clearly very easily for well over 2,500 though, and it's a convenient time for me to do so, I will probably pull the position and just head into December. And that is our M3 position. If you recall, we were talking about the bearish butterfly last week, and I stated if we were in the 850 put butterflies, I stated if we get a bounce and I can take this off for 20% of planned capital with 1/3 on, that I would be very happy to do so, and that's exactly what I did. We got the bounce, I got my 20% of planned capital, I closed the trade out. Have a nice day, another winning month in the bank, and I am looking for a good opportunity to enter into December. And also we're looking for an opportunity to exit this. We are still 60 days from expiration on our December trade, so I'm not overly anxious to get out of our November M3 trade, and then I would have nothing to talk about. So I may end up holding this for another few days, or if I happen to drop out of my November position, I may just hop into the December a bit early. And that is all I have. So we're looking for the possibility of a bit of a bounce, but overall we are still a little bit bearish for the week. Either way, it looks like our volatility is starting to pick up a little bit, which I like trading higher volatility markets. So I'm looking forward to that and hoping that that holds out. All right, have a great week, everybody, and I will keep you updated with any changes. Thank you and good night.